Over 60? These 4 daily habits may help prevent dementia and memory loss. If I could choose how I die, I would rather leave this world quickly after living a long, healthy, independent life than spend years slowly losing my memory, my personality, and the ability to recognize the people I love most. I know that's not the most comfortable way to begin a video, but if you're over 60, it may be one of the most important conversations you'll ever have. Before we get started, I'd love to know 2 things. How old are you, and what country are you watching from today? Leave your answer in the comments below. I read as many comments as possible, and it's always incredible to see people joining us from all over the world. And if your goal is to stay mentally sharp, physically active, and independent for as long as possible, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, I share practical, science-backed health advice specifically designed for older adults who want to enjoy more healthy years and fewer health problems. Now let's talk about something that affects millions of families and may affect many more in the years ahead. Of all the diseases people fear as they age, dementia often sits right at the top of the list. Not because it's painful, not because it arrives suddenly, but because it slowly steals the very things that make us who we are. Your memories, your confidence, your independence, your ability to recognize the people you love most. Many people imagine dementia as occasionally forgetting a name or misplacing their keys. The reality can be far more devastating. Before I became a doctor, I worked in a neurological care facility. An entire floor was dedicated to people living with advanced dementia. Some patients no longer recognized their own children. Some became frightened and confused every evening because they couldn't understand where they were. Others had changed so dramatically that family members would sit beside them in tears and say, "This isn't the same person anymore." And perhaps the most heartbreaking part was that many of those patients had absolutely no idea what was happening to them. They weren't aware that pieces of their memory were disappearing. Their families watched the decline day by day, month by month, while the patients themselves often couldn't see it. That's one of the cruelest aspects of dementia. It doesn't just affect one person. It affects an entire family. I'll never forget watching one elderly woman stare at her daughter as if she were a complete stranger. Her daughter was holding her hand, speaking softly, trying to comfort her, but there was no recognition in her eyes. Imagine what that feels like. Imagine spending decades raising a child, celebrating birthdays, holidays, graduations, weddings, and family milestones, only to one day not recognize them at all. That's why dementia is so frightening. It's not simply a disease of memory. It affects identity itself. The encouraging news is that dementia doesn't usually appear overnight. In most cases, it develops quietly over years, often decades before symptoms become obvious. Long before someone forgets appointments or struggles to remember names, changes may already be happening deep inside the brain. And here's something many people don't realize. The same habits that damage your heart often damage your brain. The same habits that increase your risk of diabetes may increase your risk of Alzheimer's disease. The same chronic inflammation that contributes to heart attacks and strokes may also accelerate cognitive decline. In other words, protecting your brain isn't separate from protecting the rest of your body. They're deeply connected. As an emergency physician, I've spent years treating heart attacks, strokes, uncontrolled diabetes, and countless other chronic illnesses. One lesson has become crystal clear. Most of these conditions don't appear suddenly. They're usually the result of small daily decisions repeated over many years. The good news is that positive habits work exactly the same way. Small healthy actions repeated consistently can transform your future health. This is also personal for me. My father suffered a heart attack when he was only 40 years old. Long before I became a doctor, I saw firsthand how quickly health can change when we assume we're invincible. That experience shaped how I think about prevention today. Because once disease appears, we're often trying to repair damage that's already been developing for years. Prevention gives us the opportunity to act before that damage occurs. Now, before I share the 4 habits that may help protect your brain, it's important to understand what's happening behind the scenes. Scientists continue to learn more every year, but 4 factors consistently stand out. The first is blood vessel health. Your brain relies on a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients delivered through an enormous network of blood vessels. Damage those vessels and brain cells suffer. The second factor is insulin resistance and poor blood sugar control. In fact, the connection between Alzheimer's disease and insulin resistance has become so strong that many researchers now refer to Alzheimer's as type 3 diabetes. Now, that doesn't mean eating sugar automatically causes Alzheimer's. The science is far more complex than that. But it does highlight just how important metabolic health is for the brain. Every time we improve blood sugar control, we may be helping to create a healthier environment for our brain cells to survive and function. The third factor is chronic inflammation. Not the kind you feel after an injury, but the low-grade inflammation that quietly damages tissues throughout the body for years. The fourth factor is cardiovascular fitness. A stronger heart and healthier circulation help nourish and protect the brain throughout life. Keep these 4 factors in mind because every habit we're about to discuss targets one or more of them. The first habit is something most people walk past every single day without thinking about it. Taking the stairs. I know that sounds almost too simple to matter, but stay with me. Researchers have discovered that short bursts of vigorous activity throughout the day can produce remarkable health benefits. You don't necessarily need a gym membership. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't even need an hour-long workout. Sometimes 30 seconds of effort can make a meaningful difference. Every time you climb a flight of stairs, your heart works harder. Blood flow increases. Oxygen delivery improves. Your cardiovascular system becomes stronger. Now imagine adding just one extra flight of stairs every day. It doesn't sound impressive. But over a year, those small efforts accumulate. Over 10 years, they become thousands of additional opportunities to strengthen your heart and improve circulation. Remember, your brain depends on healthy blood flow. Better circulation means better delivery of oxygen and nutrients to brain cells. It also helps support insulin sensitivity, reducing one of the major risk factors associated with cognitive decline. So here's my challenge. The next time you see stairs, choose them. And if you're physically able, add one extra trip. It may only take 30 seconds, but your future brain could benefit enormously from those small daily decisions. And that brings us to the second habit, one of the simplest nutritional changes you can make for long-term brain health. And that brings us to the second habit, one of the simplest nutritional changes you can make for long-term brain health. Eat a small handful of nuts every single day. Now, I know this doesn't sound exciting. It doesn't come in a fancy bottle. It doesn't have a celebrity endorsement. Nobody is making dramatic television commercials about it. But the science behind this habit is genuinely impressive. One of the largest and most respected nutrition studies ever conducted followed thousands of older adults who were at high risk for cardiovascular disease. Researchers wanted to see whether a Mediterranean-style diet could improve health outcomes. The results were so convincing that the study was actually stopped early because the benefits were becoming too obvious to ignore. One of the groups consumed nuts every day as part of their diet. What researchers found was remarkable. Not only did these individuals experience cardiovascular benefits, but they also performed better on certain measures related to memory and cognitive performance. Think about that for a moment. We live in a world where people spend hundreds of dollars every month searching for the perfect supplement. Yet one of the most powerful tools for supporting brain health may already be sitting in your kitchen cabinet. Walnuts, almonds, pistachios, cashews, Brazil nuts, or a simple mixture of several varieties can provide an incredible combination of nutrients. Healthy fats support brain cell membranes. Protein helps maintain muscle and satiety. Fiber stabilizes blood sugar. Antioxidants help combat oxidative stress. Together, these nutrients support the very systems that help protect the brain as we age. Personally, I recommend keeping nuts within easy reach because they can help solve another major problem: sugar cravings. Many people experience intense cravings when they're stressed, tired, bored, or not sleeping well. The natural tendency is to reach for cookies, candy bars, cakes, pastries, or other sugary snacks. Unfortunately, those foods create rapid spikes in blood sugar followed by crashes that leave you feeling hungry again shortly afterward. Nuts work very differently. The combination of healthy fats, fiber, and protein provides steady energy and helps reduce the desire for sugary foods. Instead of riding a roller coaster of energy highs and lows, your body receives a more stable source of fuel. Walnuts deserve special attention because they contain plant-based omega-3 fatty acids and powerful antioxidants that researchers believe may play an important role in supporting brain health. The next time you're tempted by something sweet, try eating a handful of nuts first. You may be surprised how quickly the craving fades. Now let's move to what may be the most powerful habit on today's list. A short walk after every meal. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. That's all. To understand why this habit is so effective, we need to talk about something happening inside your body every time you eat. When carbohydrates are digested, they are broken down into glucose. That glucose enters your bloodstream, causing blood sugar levels to rise. In response, your pancreas releases insulin to help move glucose into your cells where it can be used for energy. The problem is that modern life encourages us to sit almost constantly. We eat breakfast and get into a car. We eat lunch and return to a desk. We eat dinner and sit in front of a television. As a result, blood sugar remains elevated longer than it should. Over years and decades, repeated blood sugar spikes contribute to insulin resistance, obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cognitive decline. This is where the story becomes particularly important for brain health. Scientists have discovered that the brain can also become resistant to insulin. When this happens, brain cells struggle to use energy efficiently. Some researchers believe this process contributes directly to Alzheimer's disease, which is why Alzheimer's is sometimes referred to as type 3 diabetes. Think about that. Every time blood sugar remains elevated for prolonged periods, it may be contributing to processes that increase the risk of cognitive decline. The good news is that your muscles provide a powerful solution. When you walk, your muscles begin pulling glucose out of the bloodstream and using it immediately for fuel. This means lower blood sugar levels, lower insulin levels, less metabolic stress, and potentially less long-term damage throughout the body. Studies have repeatedly shown that even short walks after meals can significantly reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes. You don't need special equipment. You don't need athletic ability. You don't need perfect weather. Walk around your neighborhood. Walk around your house. Walk through a shopping center. Walk in your garden. The location doesn't matter nearly as much as the habit itself. 5 minutes is good. 10 minutes is even better. What matters is consistency. Over time, these small walks can become one of the most effective investments you make in both your metabolic and cognitive health. In fact, if there is one habit from today's video that I would encourage almost everyone to start immediately, it would be this one. This one surprises almost everyone because it seems completely unrelated to dementia. Brush and floss your teeth every day. When most people think about protecting their brain, they think about puzzles, supplements, exercise, or memory games. They don't think about oral hygiene. But the research tells a fascinating story. Gum disease isn't simply a problem inside the mouth. It's a chronic inflammatory condition that can affect the entire body. Every day, inflamed gums release bacteria and inflammatory compounds into the bloodstream. This creates a constant low-level inflammatory burden that travels throughout the body, including the blood vessels that supply the brain. Researchers have repeatedly found that people with significant gum disease appear to have a higher risk of cognitive decline and Alzheimer's disease later in life. Even more interesting, scientists have discovered traces of certain bacteria associated with gum disease in the brains of people who died with Alzheimer's disease. Now, I want to be careful here. This does not prove that gum disease causes Alzheimer's. Science is rarely that simple. However, the connection is strong enough that many experts now view oral health as an important part of overall brain health. The best part is that improving oral hygiene costs almost nothing. Brushing your teeth twice a day takes only a few minutes. Flossing takes another minute or two. Yet those simple actions may help reduce inflammation throughout your body and support healthier aging. When you step back and look at these 4 habits together, something remarkable becomes clear. The stairs improve cardiovascular fitness and circulation. Nuts support healthy blood vessels and reduce inflammation. Walking after meals improves insulin sensitivity and blood sugar control. Brushing and flossing reduce chronic inflammation that may contribute to long-term damage throughout the body. Each habit targets a different pathway linked to cognitive decline. Alone, they seem small. Together, they become incredibly powerful. And perhaps that's the most important lesson of all. Dementia does not appear overnight. It develops slowly through countless biological changes that accumulate over decades. Protection works the same way. It isn't one dramatic decision. It's thousands of small healthy choices repeated consistently over time. I want you to imagine yourself 20 years from now. Imagine being 85 years old. Imagine still remembering the names of your grandchildren. Still enjoying conversations. Still telling stories. Still traveling. Still laughing. Still living independently. Imagine sitting around the dinner table with the people you love and being fully present for every moment. Imagine remembering every birthday, every family tradition, every precious memory that makes life meaningful. That future version of you is being built right now by the habits you practice every day. One day, your children and grandchildren won't care what car you drove. They won't care how much money you made. They won't care about most of the things that seem important today. What they'll care about is whether you're still there with them, whether you remember their stories, whether you recognize their faces, whether you can continue sharing moments that matter. That's what we're really fighting for here. Not just more years of life, but more life in those years. Not just avoiding disease, but preserving the experiences, relationships, and memories that make life worth living. Protecting your brain isn't really about avoiding Alzheimer's disease. It's about protecting your independence, your dignity, your relationships, and your ability to continue being the person you've spent your entire life becoming. So here's my challenge to you. Don't try to change everything at once. That's how most health goals fail. Instead, choose one habit from today's video and start today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Make it so easy that you can't say no. Once it becomes automatic, add a second habit. Then a third. Then a fourth. Small actions repeated consistently can create extraordinary results over time. And now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 4 habits do you already practice every day? And which one are you committing to start this week? Let me know in the comments below. Be specific. I read as many comments as I can, and your comment may inspire someone else to take action as well. If you've made it this far in the video, type the word SHARP in the comments so I know you're committed to protecting your brain and staying mentally strong for years to come. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend, spouse, parent, or family member who wants to stay mentally sharp and independent as they age. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember, your future brain is being shaped by the choices you make right now. Take care of yourself, stay active, stay curious, protect your health, and I'll see you in the next video.